Sacred Grove, where people and pets heal and connect. Hi, it's Maribeth Decker and Tibor from sacredgrove.com. When I tell people I'm an animal communicator, many think, oh, she's a dog trainer. No, well, if you see me walk my dogs, you'll know that is not my unique brilliance. You definitely will not hire me to train your dogs or walk them. I've also tried walking my cats and it is laughable. Really. So what do? I intuitively communicate with animals. I communicate with all kinds of animals, but I focus on pets and their people. I consider myself a problem solver. I've connected with animals around the country and even animals in other countries. And I routinely connected with animals who have passed on. If you absolutely love your pets, but you're frustrated or worried about their behavior, we can ask them what's going on. And we can communicate to your pet how you're feeling about the situation. I've also found that animals have anxiety, worry, sadness, fear, and bad memories. So I often need to do energy healing on the animals and on the person. Animals are deep, you know. They choose to live with us, and they have lessons for us if we're willing to expand our understanding of who they are. I'd love to give you my free report, 5 Things Your Pets Want You to Know. It's right on this page. I work remotely, so location is not an issue. I would be excited to work with your pet and with you. It's both of you, right? The range of animal personalities I have met have enriched my life, and I continue to be astounded by them. Welcome to my world.
Hello, and welcome back to another edition of Potluck, your everything and anything talk and entertainment TV show. My name is Laura Hartman, and I'm your host. Today we have a very gifted guest joining us who happens to be an animal communicator. She is the owner and founder of Sacred Grove, where people and pets heal and connect. And she's also the author of a book called Peace in Passing. So without further ado, please welcome to the show, Maribeth Decker.
Thanks for having me, Laura. This is really
and
exciting.
Her dog, Stella.
Yeah, we brought Stella because
she's
a ham.
Absolutely adorable.
She's glad to be here.
So, now it's not every day that you come across a person who can communicate with animals, or they realize they can communicate with animals. So tell us how you got started with this and what you do.
All right, so I've been thinking, I think about this a lot because as I laughingly say, I didn't come out of the womb communicating with animals. That's not who I am. But I did love animals. I did have a spiritual experience with spirit when I was probably 12 or 13. I think that opened me up in some way. Okay. So let's fast forward a little bit. I became a Reiki master in, I think, about 2008. And at that time, my animals started communicating with me. I had dogs. Okay. And I wasn't really paying attention, so it's really funny. So the one guy that stands out in my mind is my dog Timmy. We picked him up when we were stationed. Literally, we picked him up when we were stationed in Hawaii. So he'd been a military dog all the way through, and he passed away when we were here in Alexandria. And I'm at the stove one day. I'm not a good cook, but there I was. And out of the corner of my eye, there's Timmy, and he's sitting there, and he's not see-through. The boy is sitting there with this big grin on his face, and he's wonderful and happy, and I switch my head around, Timmy, and he's gone. But in that moment, I knew animals survive. They love us, and they want us to know that they're still around and they love us. He communicated all that in just a split second. It was fantastic. And then my dog, Eddie, I had to, just as we all do, we had to put her down, and it was just before a big meeting that I had to fly out of Alexandria for. I was heartbroken. Oh, no. And she literally sat with me on the plane in the aisle. I mean, people thought I was nuts because I was doing this. I was like, oh, Eddie, I'm so glad you're here, because I don't know how I'm going to get through the next 3 days. And she was followed me into my hotel room and stayed with me and got me through those 3 days.
So she was with you spiritually?
Spiritually,
because
right.
She had passed on,
She had passed on,
but you felt her presence.
I felt her presence, thank you. Making
okay.
really clear, like no dog in the aisle, nobody tripping over or trying to go to the bathroom or anything. So, you know, and that was like, that's interesting. And then when my dog Mitsubishi, who she knew, she was buddies with, the day he passed, an acquaintance of mine called and said, out of the blue, and I said, oh, Mitsu just passed, I'm heartbroken. And she said, oh, I can connect with him. He's doing fine. I'm thinking, out of the blue, you've never called me before, but you're calling me on the day my dog passed to tell me he's fine? Is that not Mitsubishi saying,
right,
fine, Mom? So fast forward a little bit, and I have Tibor, a rescue dog. Lots of, he's got a lot of scars. He had a lot of fear, a lot of aggression, but he's a real loving dog. So I was sitting next to him on the couch, and every time I sat down, I'd see a picture of a guy holding his arm out, and like maybe a German Shepherd biting his arm. And it was happening more than once. Tibor, like, what the heck is going on with you? I got to find out. So that's when I started taking training to find out what was going on.
Okay.
So.
And where did you find?
Well, you know,
I training for this.
There's some really good online training courses. I worked with a lady named Lori Spania, and quite a bit of training in the evenings online with her, and practiced on everybody and every animal I could come in contact with. So. Okay.
Yeah. So when did you start? When did you decide to start Sacred Grove?
Well, I had started Sacred Grove at the same time, but I was focusing on healing people.
Okay.
And
doing like your Reiki?
Reiki, yeah. Okay. I do massage and Reiki, and I had some other things where I could work with people. I started working on dogs and healing dogs and cats, and then the animal communication came in, and that was really the thing that came forward, that I could actually communicate with them, and we could do healing for the families, because it really, you know, when a person brings their animal to me, that's a family unit we're dealing with, right? I mean, anybody who loves their animals know that.
Right.
Yeah.
So what kind of scenarios do you have working with families and their animals?
Usually, I'm not the first choice, you know. I mean, let's call the animal communicator. So usually people have maybe physical issues, or animals have physical issues, and they want to know a little bit more, or let's see. So I worked with Debbie and her dog. Her dog was going in for ACL, which is a tear around the knee, right?
Right.
Dogs love to run, so her dog couldn't run.
Aww.
And so I was able to tell her dog, look, you're going to have surgery. It's going to hurt. You know, you're going to be away from Deb. And after she came home, like, there's about 2 weeks, you're not going to be able to do much. You're going to be out going to the bathroom, and you're going to come lay down. Next 2 weeks, you're going to be walking. After that, you're going to be flying. So she was able to understand that this was a temporary fix and that she'd be able to run again. So that kind of stuff I've done.
Okay.
So other things where they're just looking for another set of eyes, you know, I can look in and say, here are some symptoms that I think you might bring back to your your vet that you're also working with, and I can do some healing for them. I've worked with a couple animals who've had seizures, and oddly enough, I've been able to help with that.
Okay. Now, I watched one of your videos today where there's a woman who has a farm with like the miniature donkeys, which is absolutely adorable.
Yes. Oh my goodness,
cute.
Hiccup. Oh, I was working with Hiccup. Hiccup, I didn't even know there were miniatures.
Yeah, I didn't either. I thought they're adorable.
He's like, take a full-grown horse and stop him right there, and you got Hiccup. And he's just the cutest guy, but he was feral. And they had him for 6 months, and he had a chest infection.
Oh, no.
So he'd been badly, there are some bad things that happened to him. I got some pictures that I won't, in my head that I won't share because they won't make anybody feel better.
Sure.
But he didn't trust people.
Okay.
So I started talking to him, and this is long distance. He's up in Maryland. I'm down here in Alexandria.
Sure.
Introducing and saying, you got to differentiate between the good people and the bad people, because there are good people. And so I started getting attuned to the idea that if the two folks that he was living with, the women he was living with, that they're going to give him some medicine and it's going to get rid of his chest problems. And they were finally able to do 12 straight, I think it was 12 straight days of giving him the medicine, and he got better.
Okay.
So
and before that, he wouldn't take the
no,
medicine
he wouldn't.
at all?
You know, they couldn't work on his. They got to fix his shoe. You know.
Yeah, his
you can
shoe.
see. Do all that stuff. So now he's letting him do that. He's still got a ways to go, but he's moving in the right direction.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
that's good.
Yeah.
So how did they know to reach out to you? Just maybe friends of friends of friends?
Yeah, Mary is. I worked with her horse, Callie. Okay. Callie was one of the horses I worked with that had seizures, and worked with Callie after she passed as well. So Mary said, you need to connect with those folks and help out little Hiccup, and they let me do that. So, I did. Harry's got 4 miniature burros. Donkeys, I'm sorry. So she calls them the burrito boys. She has them on her floor. Yeah,
that's funny. They're really cute.
They are so cute. They're very friendly. They're like big dogs. They come up and they want to be petted, and they'll push you a little bit. And they
I saw them like playing together.
Oh,
they're
really
like playing like a dog would play with another dog.
Oh, they're very, very sweet. They're lovely little beings.
Yeah.
Be little. I mean, not.
Yeah.
A couple 100 pounds of little.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Those little things?
Yeah, they're all.
Wow. So, how do you communicate without seeing? Do you have to see a picture of the animal?
I ask for a picture of the animal. That helps me a lot. I do, before we get on the call, because I do it remote.
Okay.
I look at the picture, and I can pick up some things ahead of time by just quieting down and looking at the picture. So I have some notes that I have. Okay. And then I work with the person and the animal. I take them through a meditation that I learned, because I'm really excited if I can do that with them, and they can open up and start communicating with their animal as well.
Okay.
So we do this communication, and it feels like we're in a slightly altered state, and the animal comes forward for me, and I ask them how they are or show me what's going on, and I'll see different things. Sometimes I'll see cartoons. I watch too many cartoons as a kid, I'm telling you. And then we'll have conversations about what's going on, and I'll be able to share with them, like if they're doing things that the owners or the guardians is probably a better term, don't love, I can share the emotions that the guardians feel when the animal exhibits something. The funniest thing, so that was a quick story. Somebody hired me to find out if her dog was going to be upset because her husband and she were going to Paris for 2 weeks. So I connected with the dog, and I saw a picture, and this is all cartoons. This is all like 50s, 60s cartoons.
Right.
So the dog is standing up. The husband and wife have their luggage in their hands, and the dog is literally pushing them out the door. It's like, I can't wait. So in fact, the dog was going to be staying with one of her favorite people and her favorite people's other dogs. So it's like, we're going to have a vacation
so it was a good
too.
scenario
it was great.
For the dog.
You go. We'll be fine. And the lady said, she says, that was really my anxiety. It was obviously not the dog's anxiety.
No, I can relate, because I'm always worried about just leaving my cats.
Right.
Because you know, because I probably spoil them too much and give them a lot of attention.
Yeah,
So.
yeah, but that dog taught me that, hey, if you got them in a good place and they're with good people, they're going to have a vacation too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, do you handle animals that have like behavioral issues?
I do. What I've learned is, I'm working with a dog right now who is a bit aggressive towards other dogs, and also towards people that are like jogging or bikes coming by or things like that. And that is really tricky. This lady is smart. She's working with a dog trainer as well. Okay. But yeah, animals have free will just like we do. Okay. So, so they can say no. It's like, this is behavior. But usually they love their people so much. If you could start to share with them how it's affecting the people, and you send them that heart feeling of dismay and worry, and even sadness about, if you bite this person, they might take you away. I'm never going to see you. Then the animal starts listening a little bit more, and then we show them what we'd like them to do. Okay. And it helps. Okay. I'm not sure that you can do 100%. Who of us have had bad habits and been able to give them up really easily? Right. Okay. If you think of that. Right. Okay. But we see improvement. Okay. Yeah. So what has been your most interesting case that you've had to handle so far? Oh goodness. Or most challenging? Most challenging. Not to put you on the spot. No. This one takes us in a little odd place. Well, there was, let's see. This one keeps coming through. And these don't happen very often. There was a dog who was having seizures. He was a young dog, and he had his husband, wife, and son. And there was actually probably some psychic negative attacks coming in that he was attempting to counteract. Now, that's not the first place I go when I'm dealing with animals. I mean, I'm not expecting that there be other kinds of things, but he was attempting to be a shield for the family. Oh, wow. Yeah, so the people that I was working with had some abilities of their own, and so we were able to do some clearing and protections around, and they also said to him, "We got this. We will take over, and we will start doing some more shielding and protection. You don't have to worry about this anymore." Okay. And we also gave him, it was really cool, I gave him a little dial, and we gave him a pocket. I don't know how a dog gets a pocket, but he could take the dial, he could see how stressed he was, and he could turn the dial down. So he was practicing learning how to turn the dial down, so that he could calm himself. And it really worked. On a spiritual level. We're doing all this by imagination and spirit, right? Yeah. And I think that he's been okay. So knowing that the people that you were working with are spiritual and they know some of those tools, or I don't know what you want to call them, what if you come across a family that is not that way and you have that? I mean, I've never even thought about that could even happen with an animal. I mean, it's happened to people. Yeah, well, animals are also, they're souls, and they're also can be affected. Even somebody who's not real open can still say, because you're always in the leadership position, "I got this. You know what? I got this." And I can say to the animal, and say to, if you believe me or not believe me, say, "This is my house. These are my animals. You're not welcome here." Right. Out you go. Okay. And just have that sort of intention and attitude, and even say it out loud. Okay. I think that helps a lot. Okay. Yeah. Okay. And maybe some prayer. Prayer's good. Yeah. Prayer's good. Whatever works. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. That sort of thing. Prayer, intention. People, bless the house. That sort of whatever. If you got the religious background, and that you can pull from your own religious background to make that a safe space, okay, very helpful.
Then all the
very
better.
helpful. Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Okay. Now, have you come across people where they've heard about you, but they were like doubting Thomases? Like they just were not convinced by what you're doing until something just actually happened that caught them by surprise?
I think so. Usually people self-select, like, right? But,
Sure.
But there was still where we get some surprises. I worked with somebody, and I was giving her kind of a list of physical ailments, and I said, you know, I'm picking up some kind of an ear infection. And she said, well, the vets haven't told me about that. And she came back a week or two later and said, the animal's got an ear infection. Like, well, all right.
You're right.
All right, we just have to keep an open mind. And so with those folks, I also say, take what you like and leave the rest. You know, usually the animal will bring forward some information that they'll say, well, Maribeth didn't know about that. I worked with a lady whose cat, at that time I was just doing some energy healing, and the cat, I kept hearing the word cinnamon. And you know, in Ayurvedic medicine, I think that they use cinnamon.
Oh, yeah.
So I thought, maybe, and then the woman told me that actually that was the cat's name before she got her, and she renamed her.
Oh, okay.
So that was a kind of affirmation that we're actually connecting to the animal.
Sure.
Maribeth did not know this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you called me the other night, or when I talked to you the other night, when I had cat issues this past week and had to take my cat to the vet 2 times, my cat was crying. I don't know if you heard my cat crying.
I heard,
as soon as you sent my cat some love and light, she just totally calmed down and just curled up in a ball and went to sleep. And I was like, oh my God. Yeah. Because it's so heartbreaking to see your animals in pain.
Oh, it's horrible, isn't it?
Yeah. So thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah.
Yeah.
So usually something like that will happen, you know, and just tell people keep an open mind and see what comes up. That's true.
And it just seems so, you know, hard to understand. For somebody that doesn't understand it, it's hard to understand, especially like since we were just on the phone and you've never seen a picture of my cat before, and somehow you were able to just get her to calm down. You know, that was pretty amazing. You know.
And it's, you know, it's heart-centered, so I'm connecting heart to heart to you, to her. You're open for her distress to be relieved. I always set up the intention that it's for your animal's highest good. And so that, you know, not just that intention of love and the love that flows through.
Oh, sure.
I think is what opens up for animals.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
So, how long have you been doing the animal communication, and what are your next steps?